So why are you a disruptor of the New Age community, Jill?
Oof, that's a big long story, that one. What a
Let's
way to
just start
start.
it off right.
Why not? Yeah, look, I mean, long story short, I've spent the last 20 years kind of awakened to, new age teachings. Um that kind of happened around my dad's death. Um and then when my brother died 5 years ago, I really got awoken to a greater level of understanding. And since then, uh, I guess I just, I used to work for a famous meditation teacher, and I saw in that community that there were so many people struggling. And, there was some people having amazing transformations for sure, but there was just only a few people that were having that transformation at any one retreat. And then the other 1,000 were struggling. And so when my brother died, I really woke up to the fact that, it's not about loving the parts of ourselves that we love. It's about loving the parts of ourselves that we don't love. And I think there's a lot of missing information in a lot of these new age communities out there. Um, and and so I once I found kind of the next level, and I'm sure there's plenty that I don't know, still, right? Because this is life. But certainly when I got that next level of information, it was like, okay, now I see how it all works. I see how it all makes sense. And I see why a lot of these new age communities have challenge. Um, I know people in the Abraham Hicks community who, and I was one of them, I thought I had to be positive all the time and stay in the vortex. And oh my God, if I fell out of the vortex, horrible shit would happen, and horrible shit did happen. Um, and it just doesn't work like that. And our challenges are our greatest assets if we understand them. And so it's not about living a one-sided life. It's not about, trying to be this Pollyanna, unicorn, rainbows version of you. It's about really loving every aspect of yourself. And that's what will allow you to transform. And in a deep, deep way as well. So my mission is exactly that, is to show people that they are the divine. They are the divine. They are the creator. They are God. And so is that person that's pissing them off right now, right? Because that's the bit we miss. It's like, yes, I am the creator of my reality and I'm going to manifest all of these amazing things. But my boyfriend's an asshole, or, my boss, is mean to me, or, whatever it is, right? And so it's about getting that next level of information to see that the asshole is divine and the mean person is divine and you are divine. And then with the newfound knowledge, you can move through life in just such a different way. You don't get knocked off tilt so easily. You don't end up on this emotional roller coaster of highs and lows. You're not I mean, I know for me, right? Like when I was on that whole positive thinking track and Abraham Hicks kind of way of thinking, was like anytime I had a negative thought or something that I perceived was negative that happened, it was like devastation. Like, oh my God, the world is ending. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. I can't do this. It's great for you manifesting your red Ferrari like in The Secret, but
Vision boards everywhere.
yeah. But this must be something wrong with me, right? Um, And look, that's not to say that I didn't create some amazing experiences and some amazing things. You know, I grew my property portfolio. I worked for Joe Dispenza. I was traveling the world. You know, I've had amazing things happen in my life. But the difference is I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel healthy. I was still all over the place with my emotions. I didn't feel whole. I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel, you know, people still pissed me off, like left, right, and center. I was very judgmental. I had a myriad of health issues. And so, yeah, so my dad woke me up to the spiritual path, his death, which, you know, I'm really grateful that he gave that gift to me. And I'm guessing that people who are listening to this podcast understand soul contracts. If you don't, it's like you make a deal before you come into this lifetime that certain aspects are going to play out for your growth. And I believe that I had a soul contract with my dad around that. Because diving into spirituality and positive thinking and watching The Secret and all of that Abraham Hicks stuff, I thought I was on a quest to save my dad, but actually what it was my awakening. And yeah. And so what a gift. Like, what a gift. And, you know, it took me a minute to work that out, that's you know, that's what was happening. But and then, you know, so I went on that path for a long time. Like I said, I had some amazing experiences. I had some challenging ones. And then when my brother died, that was the next level of awakening. That was where I saw why only a small number of people at retreats heal. Why so many people struggle in the Abraham Hicks community. And it's because there's so much missing information. You don't need to be positive all the time. I like to tell people optimism is the path, a healthy optimism where you know that sometimes you're going to be challenged because that's how you grow. And in the end, you're going to get there. Like, you're going to get to your thing. Like, have an optimistic view where things are going to happen, shit's going to fall apart. That's okay. You're still on path. Whereas this whole positive thinking track, and it's a nuance. It's a nuance because people could say, well, what's the difference? But the whole positive thinking track, you know, they tend to think that if anything goes wrong, you know, they're not worthy, or they're broken, or they've screwed up, or, you know, whatever. But the challenges are the way, the obstacles are the way. So you're missing it half the time if you're not understanding the feedback that you're getting from people, circumstances, situations in life, then you're missing a big part of this message from the divine.
Interesting. I mean, all you said was interesting because what I really hear you saying is about keeping it real.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way, Jill. Like, it's funny how you and I really resonate with one another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have so many people in the last 4.5 years that I've been, you know, on my podcast. And I probably have 200 people on my waiting list right now because I can't let just anybody in anymore. Like, I don't resonate with all of what you're saying, that, you know, the new age community and everyone is having the same type of, you know, I want to say like la la la, you know, like woo woo kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I just can't have it on anymore. I'm you know, I'm to that place. And so I think also, like, you know, there's a place for Abraham Hicks in that community. There's a place for other communities because there are people that are at different levels, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And look,
Mhm.
I Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, having the contrast of the experience in these other communities is actually going to project them into understand or wanting to understand the greater truth. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with anything on the planet.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's probably the big difference between me and a lot of these other new age types is um they're all focusing on the love and light, but they're forgetting to love the darkness, and that it's okay to love the darkness. But no, I think there's absolutely a place for every person and every modality and every kind of methodology, way of thinking, because it's either going to help you get where you want to be or it's going to help you get where you need to be. And
Exactly. One way
and
or the other, right?
exactly, and that's what it did for me,
Mhm.
like I felt so shit that when I woke up when my brother died, when I found the greater answer, like I really it was like, yeah, okay, got it. Like I was ready for it. Gosh.
I know.
Like,
I think that your internet's not so good, huh?
it was me? Oh, man. I've had 6 weeks of internet issues, and I thought it was finally resolved, like, this week, but
Because tell me you're in Sydney, right?
just north of Sydney. Yeah, I mean, I tested it this morning, and I was getting 100 megabytes per second. Yeah, I'm getting, like,
Mhm.
90, so
Mhm. Well, it's
it's
it's one of those things, like, it happens, right? I
yeah.
mean, so just like we're talking about with life and, and being
Exactly.
it's how it is, like, and there's no
Exactly.
reason to get upset about it. It's like, okay, well, so,
Yeah,
either that will cut out or not, and, the right things will be said at the right moment,
yeah,
so
it's
it's
all good.
totally fine in a
It's all
big way, so but, I recently listened to your little, sharing you did on Facebook about your brother's passing, and
mm,
I really wanted to bring that thing about boundaries in because I've been seeing a lot of people as they're waking up and they're moving to whatever
mm,
levels of conscious they're at,
mm,
a lot of people about energy vampires and
mm,
boundaries.
mm.
And I have the same feeling that you do about them. So I'd like you to share a bit about your perspective of boundaries and energy.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I cause a lot of friction when I talk about
Mhm.
this actually, because so many people are sort of stuck in that old paradigm still, which is fine, which is okay. And I will just preface that if you are challenged by what I'm about to say, there is absolute gold in this for you. Do not let it go. Do not let it go until
Mhm.
it makes sense. Um, I don't believe in boundaries. I don't believe that you need to set boundaries, and I think that you're doing yourself a grave disservice if you do. Um, when we set a boundary, what we're essentially saying is, you've done something that I don't like, and I need to keep you away from me. And what you're missing is and like I said before, right? You are divine. You are God. Call yourself whatever like resonates with you. You are the universe. You are energy. Um, I'm going to use divine and God interchangeably, simply because some people, again, are triggered by certain words,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Those religious concepts, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You are the divine, and that person that's triggering you is the divine. So when you remove that person from your life, you're removing a conversation with the divine. Makes me want to cry when I think about it, because people do not understand how powerful this is. Everyone is coming to heal you, and everyone is coming to be healed. And so if someone triggers you, they're showing you a part of you that you've not yet owned, loved, and integrated. That's literally God walking up to you and saying, love this. And what is prolific in the New Age community these days is oh my God, that person's toxic. Oh my God, that situation's toxic. I'm going to cut them off. I'm going to set a boundary, cover myself in white light, whatever. And you're missing it. You're completely missing it. When you can start to look at the feedback that you're getting in your life and learn from it, that person that was just triggering you all of a sudden becomes an angel, because you can see the other side of things, right? You can see them in a different way. You can love them in a different way. And yeah, just to bring it back to my brother, like, he had mental health challenges, and, I was going through my Abraham Hicks, like, got to be positive all the time, remove all the negative people from my life, and I didn't talk to him for a number of years. I set a firm boundary, and, next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call saying that he's shot his girlfriend and killed himself. And that boundary kept from him the very person that could have helped heal him. And not to say that, it didn't all work out perfectly, because I do believe that everything is so carefully orchestrated, and that was another soul contract at play. And boundaries they're just not, they're keeping God from you. They're keeping God from you. And what's going to happen? You're going to end up, removing all of these people from your life because they're triggering you. And another person's going to come in and display the same thing because it's not going anywhere, right? Like, you're seeing you in the mirror, right? And so you remove another person, and then another one comes in, instead of you being your brother, it's your boyfriend, or instead of your boyfriend, it's your boss. Those triggers don't go anywhere until they're loved and healed. And setting boundaries is just prolonging your pain. It's just prolonging your pain, because you're keeping away, or attempting to keep away, the very thing that's going to heal you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because from like the perspective that I'm at now, and what I understand about energy, just like you are, and what you understand in the different, level, is that I can see, that, like you're saying, like, that person is me. So
Yep.
and it also reminds me too of that scenario of, like, they say, like, oh, I just can't stand living here anymore, I'm going to move.
Yes.
So then they move, and then you create the whole scenario again with just different people, but it all comes right back to you, because it's something to look at. It's something to work with, or not, right? I mean, because it can be, there's a lot of people on the planet who are choosing this lifetime not to go there. So, okay, there's other lifetimes or other places you'll be exploring that.
Totally. And, I've heard other spiritual teachers saying, like, if you're not happy in your relationship, or where you live, or in your job, then you should change. You should just change all of those things. And it's like, yeah, but you're missing the point. Like, you're the common denominator, like, you're going to change relationships and end up in the same relationship. You're going to change jobs and end up in the same job. You could move to another country across the other side of the world.
Yep.
And you will still have the same patterns show up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, some people aren't ready, and, some people are listening to the people that are sharing this information that's really keeping them stuck. And so that's part of my mission, is to awaken people to a greater truth, to show them a different way of being, to showing them that they can have everything that they want. It's just not the old paradigm that all of these, spiritual teachers out there are teaching. There's a different way.
Well, I think the interesting part is not only in our close environment, but further out from us, like the political environment,
For sure.
the government, the whatever, perspective is outside of us beyond our family and our immediate,
Mm,
that's all a mirror to us too, and we'll just chat, take a little bit moment for the Trump and the Kamala situation recently, and
yeah.
both sides, whatever side you were on. I mean, it's a mirror of the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to call it. And so
Yeah.
it's playing out everywhere, and there's no question it's game on right now, really.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, had people looked at that election objectively, um, I, I I mean, I don't think you could say that the 4 year. I mean, I'm Australian, obviously, but I probably know more about American politics than I do Australian politics. Um, I don't think anyone could look at the 4 years he was in, Trump was in as president, and then the 4 years that Biden was in as president, and say that no, definitely Biden was better. I don't think you could objectively say that. And so, what I noticed as an outsider was it was actually people's triggers and charges around Trump. Like, people were either voting for Trump or against Trump. No one was voting for Kamala. Like,
Hmm.
and when I say no one, like, I'm sure there was
Hmm.
some, but on the big scale, it was like people were voting out of their voting from their mirror, right?
Hmm.
Either I really admire this person because he's a reflection of me, or I really despise this person because he's a
Hmm.
reflection of me.
Hmm.
Rather than go Kamala. Like, I just didn't see a lot of that in terms of, um, because there was a lot of people asking, like, what do you like about Kamala? What do you like about Trump? And people always had an answer for the Trump side, but never had an answer for the Kamala side. And
Hmm.
that to me is a pretty clear indicator that it was, um, yeah, the reflection stuff going on. But
Well,
yeah,
you
I
know what's
mean,
interesting? I want to make a point here with you saying that, because so for Trump, I see him as obviously a strong alpha male. He's outspoken. He, just is on, right. And then the other side, so that, depending upon what you agree, I mean, obviously I like him, so that would be a positive. And then the Kamala side, like, there was nothing there.
mm,
So, like, people, how could they relate to? So if you look at it light or dark, like, which one do you relate to?
mm,
And like you're saying, like, to make a choice of which one was the right person that they might want to vote for, it's really like voting for yourself. Like, what do I see in these people? Well, in Kamala, there was like nothing. Even in Biden, there's nothing, because poor guy's got dementia, right? I mean, like, there's like literally nothing going on there. So I hear what you're saying about it. Really was there was either they were voting for Trump or against Trump, but that really wasn't for Kamala, because there's really nothing there.
yeah. And look, to be fair, I mean, I when I was watching a lot of the clips from both sides, because I really wanted to look at it
Hmm.
objectively. I
Hmm.
mean, I found myself having to own where I rambled like a bumbling idiot because I really
Hmm.
had to own that part of me, because it was
Yeah.
really starting, like, I could see it every time she spoke. I was like, where do I do that? Right?
Hmm.
Because it's a reflection, so it must be there. Um, but yeah, I do believe that Trump is part of the spiritual revolution that we're going through. And we've got a lot of stuff going on here in Australia, which is kind of the opposite of what's happening over your way now. We've got more freedom of speech being locked down. We've got more kind of communism stuff coming in. But look, at the end of the day, like, I do believe that there's a solution to every problem. And, just like, I think that Kamala supporters have currently a level of contrast to help them to awaken,
Hmm.
right? Because, Trump supporters are like, they're feeling free, they're feeling, back on purpose, all of those things. Whereas the Kamala supporters seem to be quite erratic in their behavior and,
Hmm.
flying off the handle, very emotional, very triggered, very charged. So that contrast of Trump being in is actually like designed to help them to awaken.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I think the same here with Australia. I think that there's a lot of people that are quite asleep and don't understand the power that they have, don't understand what's going on in the world. And, you know, the contrast just has to get heavier and heavier until, you know, they awaken to a greater truth. And so be it.
Exactly. You know, and that's how I was too with the election. I was like, whoever wins, I'm
Mm,
going to flow with it, you know,
mm,
because I know what my truth is, what I need to do for myself, because it starts with us. Right. And, yeah, so I would be totally okay. You know, like I said, I have my preference, but I would be like, okay, game on, let's do it this way. Game on, let's do it that way. So, and that really is a more keeping it real,
yeah.
especially in the spiritual perspective that we're really, you know, focusing in on that unseen part of us, the awakening, you know, energetic, you know, soul essence, that part of us that really goes, okay, what is really going on here? And I think that's really the key. Is right now there's a lot of people that were on the left, like Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, like they're coming over to the other side now, because
Yeah.
like who's in charge now? It's kind of unreal too when you see that perspective going
Mm.
on, you know.
I hope Mark restores my Instagram accounts and Facebooks.
Okay, that might be the first thing.
I mean, 2025, I could have 42 Instagrams and Facebooks come back. So look out, people.
Oh, right. Oh,
Not quite that many, but yeah, it has been challenging. Um, yeah, look, it's interesting, right? It's interesting seeing. I mean, it's interesting seeing even people in the energetic, healing, spiritual kind of you know, space over the past 4 years, like pushing certain agendas, like really, you know, kind of on the side of the new world order, um, and pushing the fear and pushing the, you know, the jibby jabs and all of these things. It's like, hang on a second. Just a minute ago, you were telling me that I could heal myself and that I'm, you know, to get beyond the fear. And now you're telling me that you're afraid to hug someone because of some make believe thing going on out there. Like,
mhm.
I'm just careful with my words for
I hear you.
censorship.
I feels you.
Um, yeah, like I don't even believe in germ theory. That's how far gone I am. I just I don't think you
Mhm,
can catch anything. I think it's all toxicity in our bodies, whether that be emotional, you know, environmental,
mhm,
whatever.
mhm,
It's our body's way of detoxing. You know, we start to cough, we start to sneeze, we start to vomit, we start to diarrhea to get whatever toxic load
mhm.
is in our physical system. And yeah, you can't solve that by putting more toxins into your body. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, look, it's been an interesting ride. You know, the funny thing is I was very unwell over those first couple of years. I had uh, you know, pretty much no immune system. I never wore a mask. I kissed and
Mhm,
hugged everyone. And it never got sick. And so
mhm.
to me it's not about that. It's not about the immune system. It's about the detoxing. I was detoxing every day. Yeah. But
Also, if you buy into the mass psychosis, then you're part of it. You know, you're just going to take on what everyone else is experiencing.
totally. And it's really,
Mhm,
you know, and that's a really good point too, right? Because so many people believe that they're living their lives and we're actually rarely are. Like we actually rarely are because generally we're living the programming
mhm,
of that we've acquired over our lifetime. That is the collective consciousness. That is, you know, everything we've learned in the first sort of 7 to 10 years of life. That is the programming we've received in our mother's womb. And that is epigenetically 13 generations back. So what we believe isn't even what we believe, you know, it's not even our stuff. It's we're so programmed to think a certain way and to be a certain way that I don't know. I just feel like when you can get beyond all of that programming, when you can get clear on what it is that you want in life, see what's challenging you to get there, because it should manifest instantly. So what's in the way? Uncover that subconscious programming, heal that part of you, and then you're done. You move on. You get to live a life where you're, like you say, keeping it real. You know, you're living your truth rather than living someone else's idea of how you should be.
Absolutely. So in, in looking at like where we're at right now, Jill,
Mm.
and so let's just move ahead just a little bit, just to have fun with this. So what's your perspective or prophetic feeling for what's coming in the future for all of us?
In terms of the Trump administration and that kind of spiritual revolution, is that
You can take it any way you want to take it.
Yeah, cool. Look, I do hope that he gets in safely, and that's no prophecy whatsoever. I just know that, with the changes that he wants to make, there's certainly going to do everything they can to not have that happen. I did have a vision years ago in the lead up to the 2020 election, where I saw Trump standing on a hill, kind of looking out at this utopia. And it was just the most beautiful thing in the world. And I thought he was going to win the 2020 election. Can you hear that?
It's totally cool. No worries.
We've got builders.
This is being real. So.
We've got builders across the road, and so he's like, "Don't you come near my mum."
I will take you down. Little bitty dog, right?
Yeah. Well, at least he's feeling better.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw this real, this beautiful vision of Trump overseeing the land, overseeing this utopia. And look, I know that, we're never going to have a perfect society, unicorns, lollipops kind of thing. But to me, what it sort of implied, well, firstly, I thought it was going to be the 2020 election.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that it wasn't, because what happened was it provided a lot of contrast for a lot more people to wake up. He wouldn't have had the dream team back then. He wouldn't have had RFK Jr. or Tulsi Gabbard. And so that contrast of losing the 2020 and having those 4 years of Biden has kind of, awakened, Tulsi, awakened RFK Jr. to a greater truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so while I don't see it being unicorns, sunshine, lollipops, because we're always going to have challenge.
Absolutely.
I do see that it's going to be very different to what it was like with Biden. And I think that a lot of what's going to happen in this next administration is going to kind of pave the path for those who follow. Because you can't go in and change the 3-letter agencies to the degree that they want to and not have this next level of freedom and free thinking and, that kind of, the government. The government was formed to work for us. They work for us. And I think over the years that has very much been forgotten. They're public servants. They are to serve us,
And not just in America, like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to have been this real sort of flip to, we control you. And that's never how it was supposed to be. It was never to be a control thing. It was to be of service. And I can really see that no matter what you think about Trump, I can really see that that's in his heart, that he just wants to be of service to America. He wants to make America great again. And if my vision's correct, he's going to do it, and he's going to do it in a big way. And my hope is that that will then float out into, all of the other countries. And I mean, we've already seen shifts within the first 24 hours of him winning the election. There was shifts around the world of different leaders, like almost kind of celebrating, like
Mhm.
I just saw him in France recently, and it was like, it was almost a celebration of like, oh, thank God you're back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that like people like people who are strong, even though
Yeah.
they may not like him, his personality, but like, you want to have a teacher, a leader that has a strong foundation, that knows what the
Totally.
hell they're doing, right? Or at least has a, like you're saying, at least, has the people at the heart. And even if
Yeah.
a lot of people may not agree with him having that, I believe he does too.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. And he during my video watching, when I was owning my bumbling fool with Kamala, I also had to, I also owned my strength. There was this moment where I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and I was like, oh my God, Trump, like he just gets knocked down and he just gets back up and he keeps going. And he's just like, he's so on mission, he's so on purpose, and he's just unstoppable. Like, it doesn't matter what they throw at him, like he's just
Mm.
like, he comes up fighting.
Or aim at him. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
like
exactly,
literally.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. He just keeps going.
Mhm.
And then I stopped for a second and we were both like, yeah, like that's you. Because that, I was just having so many challenges at one point. And uh yeah, so my point about telling you that is, anything that we see in others, whether it's the positives, the negatives,
Mhm.
you spot it, you got it. And
Absolutely.
so that strength that you see in Trump, that is within you. That is in with me. That is within me. You know, and once you start to understand that at a deep level, like, oh my God, your life transforms.
On
You
both
just,
sides though, like you said, on both sides, like it's, even with the dementia and the not, I mean, he's out of it, Biden. So like we have that in us too, when there's
yeah,
moments when we're confused with energy and we're like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm even at. And, owning that too, like on both sides, I mean,
look,
really.
I gotta tell you, like
Yeah.
10 minutes before I got onto this call, I was like, oh my God, I feel so vacant today. I need coffee.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
On both sides of the spectrum, we have all of it. So it's owning
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And exactly that. It's just owning it. Like,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with being vacant at times. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with rambling like a bumbling idiot at times. There's nothing wrong with being a bitch at times. Whatever it is you
Mhm.
got going on that you're trying to hide and get rid of, there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with any of it. And
Right.
the way to, it's so paradoxical, because it's like the moment you love and accept those parts of you is when they kind of disappear.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Or they soften, right?
They soften so much. They don't,
They
because
do.
they're just screaming to be loved right now,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
and the moment that they're loved, well, they no need to kind of, it's like a toddler, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I need your attention
Absolutely.
kind of thing,
Mhm. Mhm.
once you pick them up and you give them a cuddle,
Mhm.
um they're no longer kind of biting your ankles or
Right. Exactly. Yes.
whatever it is that they're doing.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, and it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful, really.
It really is.
Mm,
So let's talk a little bit about what you have going on, Jill, because you just recently started your Spiritual Revolution podcast, which I was on. And it was super fun. And so that's one way that people can connect with you. But I would love for you to share a little more about, what you offer
yeah,
clients or people
yeah,
to connect with you and how they would connect with you.
yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I have one-on-one spots available. They're
Mhm.
very limited. My focus is definitely on my alchemy membership community. It just launched a few weeks ago, and it's just so beautiful, like seeing the community come together and start to like have so many kind of aha moments, and really just shifting their paradigm from that old way of thinking to a greater truth. So I'll be relaunching again 2025 for a new round. You'll come into the big group. Yeah, and it's amazing content. I've got the cosmic law framework where I teach you how to live in alignment with the universe so that you're not kind of getting slammed all the time with these big kind of catastrophes. The emotional mastery model to really get you off that kind of emotional roller coaster that so many people are on coming out of that positive thinking community. And then the quantum body blueprint is phenomenal if you've got any kind of dis-ease going on in your body. We talk about epigenetics, we talk about psychosomatics. Even if you don't have disease going on in your body, it teaches you how to understand the feedback that you're getting in your reality to kind of prevent things getting worse, right? And because the moment you have symptoms show up in your body, whether it be a headache, whether it be you've bumped your knee, that's communication again from the universe, like the feedback that you're also going to miss, like you would if you were to set boundaries. So there's a whole heap of kind of models that I use to help people, and it's absolutely beautiful work. It's Heal Your Life with Alchemy, and then next year, also 2025, I'll be hosting retreats. There'll be workshops. There'll be a masterclass each month. There's going to be a lot going on. The Spiritual Revolution podcast is just starting out, but yeah, it's so amazing to have these beautiful conversations with people around the world who get it, and to have listeners who maybe don't quite get it, but are sort of starting to have their spidey senses sort of say, oh, there might be something to this kind of next level of understanding. So, so that's
That's
basically
some stuff going on, Jill.
Yeah, I've
And
got a lot going on, mate.
a few things.
Yeah.
And also you can find Jill Ogle on OGLE, which her links will be in the show notes, so you can find her on Facebook, and go check it out and prepare to get real. Right,
Thank
Jill?
you so much. Yep, totally.
It was so fun. Thank you for being on today. I really appreciate it. And I think this was a great conversation for the moment of the time we're in, for sure.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be amazing what happens in the next few years. Just Trump leading that revolution. I fully intend to lead the spiritual revolution. I think so many people are waking up to this old new age stuff isn't 100% it. And I think there's going to be a massive, I can feel it in my bones, this amazing shift in the next 4 years. So
absolutely. Yeah. Many of us are absolutely feeling it. So if you listeners out there are feeling it, please get a hold of Jill, because she's an amazing person to get in touch with and to move into 2025. And I like to say feeling more alive. So
I love it.
Yeah. So thank you for listening in around the world, and wherever you're at, just remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your unique journey. To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.